Three groups benefit from America's illegal assault on Iran. But first, some context. The Zionist regime and their American stooges have bombed a girls' school, subsequently denied it, then been proven to have been lying the whole time. They have bombed oil facilities and desalinization plants in Iran, civilian infrastructure. Whatever they may say, these attacks are deliberate. These attacks are meant to happen. They are not an accident. They are part of a campaign of global terrorism that started decades ago, a neo-colonial project which continues to this day. The first beneficiary is Israel. The destruction of Arab states like Iraq and Syria over the last few decades have removed opposition to Israeli expansionism in the region, have removed economic adversaries that are threatening the domination of the Israelis in the region. If these countries were economic and military powerhouses, they would firmly oppose Israeli aggression and expansionism. They would firmly oppose the oppression and injustice being inflicted upon the people of Palestine. The reason that these countries have been demolished and destroyed is so that there is no concerted opposition. There's been resistance movements inflamed, civil wars and tensions ignited in these regions, so that there will be no concerted opposition because a united Muslim world is a great threat to the Israeli state's ambitions for a greater Israel. And the Israeli state's ambitions will only become a reality if the region remains fragmented and if they remain acquiescent to other interests, not their own interests, but the interests of the American empire, their personal economic interests, rather than the ideological purity that should determine their actions and to determine who they support in the geopolitical sphere. The second beneficiary is the military industrial complex. Private industry will reap the rewards of increased defense spending and more arms manufacturing. Corporate finance will benefit from higher global interest rates amidst the global turmoil driven by rising oil prices. Insurance costs and speculative gains will skyrocket, fueling financial instability, but also unprecedented and obscene levels of wealth in the hands of the corporate elite. This will perpetuate inequality. This will exacerbate and entrench the distortions that are in place within our societies, both in the West and in the developing world. Global inequality will rise on an unprecedented scale. We will see the wealthier countries of our world continue to gain in wealth, continue to gain in power, but it will all be concentrated at the very top, whilst the poorer nations of our world will continue to be neglected. They will continue to be oppressed by distorted global systems and free trade, which doesn't benefit them, but benefits the establishment. It is clear that war damages the many. It does not support the silent majority. It only enriches an elite few. The final beneficiaries are the Gulf monarchies. They have higher oil prices and oil revenues. American military support and their regional competition has been crushed under the heel of American imperialism. Russia is also a great beneficiary of this. They were facing severe economic and financial difficulties, but now rising oil revenues are subsidizing their illegal war, and they're subsidizing and propping up the Russian economy. And now the crisis that was threatening to engulf the Russian state has now been completely alloyed, and now they have complete control. Sanctions are being lifted, and their illegal actions are being legitimized because America knows that they are in the same boat now. They risk becoming a pariah state if they weren't so deeply embedded within the infrastructure and the economies of the Western nations and global developing nations. Then, by now, America would be ostracized on the global stage, just like Russia was in 2022. But amidst this conflict, America has made fatal strategic errors. They have made a hero, a martyr out of Khomeini, and his son, the new supreme leader, will not rest until he achieves revenge. Their actions will increase terrorism and suicide bombings worldwide, and anti Americanism will rise for generations across the world, across the Muslim nations of our world, and rightly so, because injustice has been allowed to proliferate and Muslims have been oppressed for so long. They have been ignored for so long. So why should they trust America to be benevolent? Why should they trust the USA to cater to their interests? Because we always know that America is a country and a nation built for corporate industry. It is built to serve the elite, and it will continue to do so no matter the situation. America made the mistake of underestimating Iran's strength. Iran has cheaper weapons in higher quantity with their Shahid drones, whilst US defenses and offensive weapons are rapidly depleting. This means that we haven't yet seen the full scale of Iran's power as they're conserving their ballistic missiles in favor of drones. Meanwhile, America has already sent its best assets into the region, and it has already exhausted most of its high tech resources. Iran clearly has the upper hand, and Trump has made a fatal error. America's geopolitical adversaries are gaining strength whilst they are faltering. This war does not benefit them in any way. It only benefits Israel, elites, corporate interests, and the Gulf monarchies. However, it is also important to note that Iran has made the Gulf allies of the United States hugely vulnerable. Closing the Strait of Hormuz and rising oil prices means that European support and public opinion across the world is likely to be fragile, and support for the Trump regime's illegal war will not last for very long, if it is present at all right now. But also, attacking Gulf states means that American alliances will be tested to a degree that they never have before. Gulf states are also highly vulnerable due to their high levels of water scarcity. They have high water use but low water supply due to the climate of the region, but also their capacity and usage and demand. So they rely heavily on desalination. If Iran strikes desalination plants in the region, the Gulf states could be incapacitated and plunged into crisis. Iran clearly has the upper hand, and it is demonstrated through every single sphere of this war. They have played a strategic masterclass, and Trump has made a huge error. Remember this before you listen to Trump and Farage. Their children won't fight this war. It will be you, ordinary working people, who pay the price, who make the sacrifice. Rising oil prices prove this. The burden will always fall upon the ordinary people of our nations. Working people are already paying the price and will continue to pay the price of this unjustified aggression. Do not be fooled again. First, it was terrorism, then it was migration. Now, it is another legal war. Look past the lens that power displays and gain the key to unlocking your freedom.